Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Eric and I like to read, and today I'm going to be doing my October wrap-up. So in the month of October, I actually managed to read almost all of my TBR. I think I was just missing one book, but other than that, I read the rest, and I'm pretty excited about it because overall it was a pretty good reading month. I managed to read a good variety of different genres throughout the month, and yeah, it was a good time. So I'm going to jump into talking about those books and share what I thought about them. So the first book I jumped into right away was White Smoke by Tiffany D. Jackson. And this is following a character and her family who move into this really it's a freshly renovated house, but it's in a really dilapidated neighborhood. So all the other houses around this house do not look great at all. Like they look abandoned, boarded up, and it's part of this project that this city is doing where they're bringing in creative artists, and they come in and try and help reinvigorate the surrounding city within their different installations that they do and their projects that they do. And so the main character, she's the daughter of the mom who actually got into this program, and that's why they moved their whole family here to live in this house and go through that program. And so this daughter, she is dealing with some past trauma from where she lived before. And so they move into this house and things start happening in this house that are very creepy. All I'm going to say is I would have left immediately from some of the things that they were dealing with. But yeah, it definitely gave me very spooky, creepy vibes. And I could feel it. As I'm reading, I'm if I was in this situation, my spine would be tingling. I would just be what the heck? So yeah, the character goes through some very traumatizing occurrences within this house. Her family is also experiencing this, and this is also a family that's kind of coming together because the mom has her daughter and her son, and then the dad, who just recently married the mom, has a daughter that he's bringing into the family. So it's kind of like a blended family, and not everybody necessarily gets along with each other. So that also makes it difficult within this new move. And so from there, they kind of have to live together, figure out how to blend into this new neighborhood, and just kind of go from there. And so we get to follow the experiences of that. Yeah, I don't know. I had a really good time with it. I thought the book was very well paced. It kept me engaged, and it definitely kept me on my toes, trying to figure out what was kind of going on with this haunted house. So yeah, I was intrigued, and I loved it. I think the ending was really satisfying, and all the build up into that was really good. So I was in for it, and I had a great time with this book. So I would give this 5 out of 5 stars. Next up on my list is Nanny Dearest. This is I would say a domestic thriller. And so this is following two different perspectives. One of them is the perspective of a nanny that is the nanny of the main character. Now, the main character, she is now in her mid-20s, and she's going about life, and then she bumps into her nanny from when she was a kid. And so the two of them kind of reconnect, and from there share more about their lives as they are now and kind of go from there. But the main character starts to realize that there's something kind of off about this nanny, and never really knew why this nanny stopped being her nanny when they were younger. And so from there, you kind of have to put pieces together and see where it goes, right up to the end. It was an interesting book, I'll say that. And I liked the two different perspectives because it definitely gave you different sides of the story. But I wasn't fully engaged with this one. I found it did kind of drag a little bit at times, but it has that that domestic thriller TV show vibe where you want to keep watching, or you want to keep engaging to see what's going to happen next, but it's not necessarily got its grips in you. It's just the curiosity keeps you going. And so that was kind of the case for this one, where I was curious to know what was going to happen, but I could put the book down, go do other things, and come back to it. It's not necessarily one that I had to just keep reading and reading and reading. Overall, when it got to the end, I was just kind of okay, I guess that's all right. I don't know. It was a mediocre ending for me, not one that I was expecting. I kind of thought there was going to be a bit more based on like all the build up throughout the book. It was just kind of like a slow burn build up. So the ending was a little bit lackluster for me, but yeah, I don't know if that's like your style of book where you like slow burn all the way through and then a resolution. I wouldn't say it's like a big resolution, but a resolution. Then like this could be the book for you. So overall, I'd probably give it like a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Then next up on my list is Clown in a Cornfield number 3, and this is the Church of Friendo. So this is the end of this trilogy. I adore this trilogy. I thought this trilogy was so good. This one, I'm only giving a 4 out of 5 stars. I gave the other two 5 out of 5 stars. I think this is just like falling into the end of a series syndrome, or I don't know. I don't know if there's a like official term for it, but like whenever I get to the end of series, a lot of the time I feel like the last book is probably my least favorite because I don't know if it's just because it's wrapping up or just how it's wrapped up. But yeah, 4 out of 5 also by no means is a bad rating. Like I had a great time with this book. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was just as gory and gruesome as all the other ones. This one was specifically following along more of like a culty vibe. I mean, a lot of the series does kind of follow along a culty vibe, but this one really got into like the culty vibe, where the character is kind of trying to finish off this kind of fight that they've had with Friendo this entire time. And so it's them trying to go to the end, figure this out, and just finish it. So it's like she's definitely a final girl, we'll say that, and she's going for it, and she's bringing it the whole way through. And it's kind of interesting because in this one, Quinn like takes matters into her own hands, whereas a lot of the other situations that she was thrown into in the other books were done to her, and in this case, she's like, no, I've had enough of that. I'm gonna be the one that decides what happens here. I'm gonna be the one that decides my own fate. Let's do this. And just kind of becomes like a badass I mean, she was badass from like the beginning, but like this one, she was really badass. There were some side characters in this book that I really liked. So that was another thing that I was just like, yes, love it. And yeah, it's such a good series. Like if you're afraid of clowns, then this will terrify you. I'm not necessarily afraid of clowns. I don't really like them either though. So it was just like, it definitely had all the scary vibes and all the brutal vibes to it. And I just had a great time with it. The series was just so much fun. I would strongly recommend starting with the first one, obviously. This is the third one. But if you want like a creepy horror book set in a small town full of cornfields and clowns, then Clown in a Cornfield is the perfect series for you. Then next up, I read an ebook novella, and this was New York Minute by Stephen Aryan. Now, this one was sent to me by the author to read and review, and I think I would probably give this one probably like a 3.5 to 4 star. I'll probably end up rounding it up to a 4 star. This one's set in kind of like an alternate New York, and our main character is like a private investigator that gets pulled into an investigation from like a mafia mob boss. So they like don't really have a choice in the matter. They just have to do it. And they're trying to figure out what happened to this like crime boss's daughter because she's gone missing. And so it's the story of that. It's a very fast-paced, quick book because it's a novella, and it's set in like a, when I say alternate New York, it's like a futuristic kind of, but also like dystopian New York. So technology and architects are something that was like pushing movement forward, but then everybody kind of decided that like they didn't want to go with that. And so New York has like parts of New York that are like really built up, and then other parts are very rural and like no technology around those areas. And so that like leaves it as like an interesting landscape because the main character comes from like the outer rural parts into the more urban like city and has to go through this investigation and just try and survive. Yeah, it was definitely action packed like the whole way through. There was a lot of different like cool fight scenes, and there was a lot of intrigue because you're also trying to figure out what happened to this mob boss's daughter. And so from there you kind of like explore that. And yeah, I don't want to give too much away. It was action-packed. It's a very quick read, so if you want something that's fast and kind of like a dystopian read, then go for this one. And then the last book on my list, which I'm obviously giving 5 stars because I was the agent for this book, and there was a reason I loved it and wanted to help put it out there in the world, is October's Ocean. I'm still in love with this cover. We took so long to get this cover perfected, and it's everything. So this one is like, if you want cozy, spooky vibes for like Halloween season, then this one is perfect for that because it falls over like the actual time of the days leading up to Halloween and then the days following Halloween. It's following our main character, Seth, who is going through a lot. He's dealing with the grief of the loss of his best friend, who he was also in love with. So he's trying to deal with all of those emotions, which like that's a lot for a teenager. On top of already having the regular teenager emotions, like that's a lot. So he's dealing with all of that when he encounters this interesting woman named Peggy, who he's never seen before. And he just chalks it up to her being another person getting ready for Halloween because she's dressed in like full Scottish attire, and he sees her in a bunch of different places and is just wondering why she keeps popping up everywhere, until he realizes that she's a ghost. And so from there, he talks to Peggy, and they kind of have like this relationship going throughout the book. During the book, Seth's also introduced to another character named William who comes into play, and we'll see what happens with that. But he's trying to figure out what he's going to do with his life and just move forward because he's just so stuck in his grief. And so like there is a lot of emotions that are in this book, and that's something that's dealt with throughout the journey of the book. So be prepared for that. But it's such a beautiful story. It's set in like the coast, so it's a coastal vibes if you like that. A small town on an island with just like Halloween decorations and stuff. Like it's just adorable. It has like the Hallmarky vibes a little bit, but in more of like a young adult audience. And yeah, it was just really cute. So if you guys want to get this, I'll put the link in the description down below for you guys to go check it out. And those are all the books that I read in the month of October. Let me know if you guys have read any good books in October that you want to share, and put those in the comments down below. Also, get ready guys, because Reindeer Readathon is coming soon, and our announcement video should be coming out next week, hopefully. So keep your eyes peeled for that. If you guys want to support me, I have a Patreon and a Ko-fi page, which I'll put in the description down below, as well as a link to buy my bookmarks. You guys know the drill. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification button so you get notified when I post new videos. I post my videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And until next time, keep on reading.